Viewer Olivia Dahl writes, "Seen it? Star Wars Episode VII, The Force Awakens. I watched it at an early screening at my local sold-out theater yesterday and would love to hear your thoughts." Hey, we happen to have a few.
Star Wars movies give us thoughts.
It seems that the major criticism from critics, certainly not from fans, is that it's too much of a Star Wars pastiche.
That's exactly why I like the movie. Making it out of spare parts of the old movie, it's just like the heroes of the movie living in a world made out of the spare parts of a dying empire. We have a whole new movie made with the same color palette, so as soon as it starts, you feel safe. You feel like you're back home.
It really was what needed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
It needed to be a love letter to the fans who, after all these years, are still wounded by the prequels, and it needed to say, come on back, guys, everything's okay.
Yeah.
This is the Star Wars you know and love. However,
Oh, yes.
the next two movies, they gotta take it further.
Oh, yeah.
They gotta get out of that comfort zone and give us something new. If it stays this way for the next two, then the franchise is just gonna stagnate. The thing that I liked least about the movie was the big final battle, where they have to destroy the Death Star again.
Yeah.
They have to go and shoot a little part of it to blow up the whole thing, and they have to drive down the trench.
Who gets wistful thinking about trenches on the Death Star? We're happy with the trench on the Death Star that we have. The only thing I really didn't like about the movie is that the Emperor figure, the Supreme Commander guy...
Andy Serkis.
Yes, he's played by Andy Serkis. Do you know who I would have loved to have seen in the movie? Andy Serkis. We had the CGI thing that looks like one of the zombie freaks from I Am Legend. And it's like, oh, good. Here's someone for me not to be afraid of for the next 3 movies. But Andy Serkis is a very interesting looking fellow. Put a ward or two on him and he can be a big evil guy.
Well, I do want to talk about the biggest revelation of the film, the thing that surprised me the most. Admiral Akbar!
Yeah, I know! And also the little pilot guy.
Nimnum.
Yeah, Nimnum.
I've got a bunch of movies that I've never seen before. You don't know what they are. Every episode I'm going to spring one on you. It might be good, it might be bad. We'll watch it and talk about it. Welcome to the basement. For our end of the year special, it's the end of our 4th season, Craig. Another year of watching movies together.
You told me this would only be 1 season long, Matt.
He keeps coming back.
Yeah, I know. I got nothing else to do.
What's on the agenda today? We're going to look back at the season that we've just had. We're going to nominate some new Hall of Fame members, and we're going to watch a few things on the old leather couch.
And I get to choose the things on the old leather couch.
Yeah, but we'll get to that in a minute. For
Yes.
now, the year in review.
If you don't live for now, why, you might as well just roll over and take the full count.
I only speak in boxing metaphors. Let's go back to my corner.
And I will spit in your bucket.
A pair of star-crossed lovers.
Good morrow, cousin.
Have you seen the latest miniature plays on ThouTube? I do like the one about the cat.
You didn't by any chance happen to see a tall, blonde, black girl, did you, around here?
No, but I have that fantasy too.
After all, I dragged you into this marriage.
Stop it, don't say that. It's not true and you know it.
The baby dragged me into it.
Now I can put an end to this nightmare.
A nightmare of 2 wives and all of their yap, yap, yap.
Telling the truth is a bad idea.
We can sing our hearts out.
I think they're wonderful.
Oh, she's an idiot.
I think we have to keep our supernatural episodes down to a minimum with a war to win and all that.
Oh, come on. Supernatural forces will help you win a war.
That's right. Have you not seen Raiders of the Lost Ark or read the Book of Joshua? The next morning, Edgar wanders in. He's been drunk. Blackout drunk.
The worst blackout I've ever had.
How can you tell? You can remember the other ones? That's not how blackouts work.
I'll never have another drink again as long as I live.
But I will have several more blackouts.
When I leave this place, I'll destroy you too.
Sorry, all I hear is...
We are presented with the great people of the solar system. Isla.
My planet is Mars.
You may ask yourself, is there life on Mars? And I say to you, yes, David Bowie, there is. Me, Isla, a person from Mars. I know what I'm talking about, so shut up. Our gang goes to a tavern.
When we go out drinking, we're always like...
why I don't drink with you anymore.
Nope.
The towers.
The Towers.
The Martians have bred a race of synthetic humans to save themselves from extinction.
Synthetic humans?
The theory calls them mutants.
Mutants.
I don't think you have that word right, sir.
I told Helen you wouldn't be so ugly if you cut your hair.
Watch out, Bruce, it's a dragon.
There's a big fight out in the alley. Beat him with the stick.
Oh, what's this in my back pocket? Yeah, I got some namachokas. Yeah, that's right. Waka waka waka. He hits him.
Premium Rush is much better than its working title, Maximum Hurry.
Dun 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 dun. Come on, Frogger. You can make it. Now across the swamp. And that didn't take too long, did it?
You can keep the lantern, sighties.
Did you ever hear of a man being burned by X-rays or radium?
It's fun.
Have you heard of a man being burned by the stock market? You're looking at one.
Continuing our forecast throughout the week, the Devil's Reign will continue through Thursday with a plague of frogs to carry you through the weekend.
I've just made you a fresh pot of coffee, Mrs. Preston.
Thank you, Krampus.
Welcome to Miami. Buenvenido a Miami. Whoa. The zombie has evolved a sense of irony.
Silence rides through the snow. Silence. He talks. No. Silence.
He can't answer, Sheriff. He's a mute.
A mutant.
Help me move Jennifer over here.
We're gonna throw her in the garbage, Marty.
Because we can't just leave her in the car.
There's a race of sentient raccoons that live in this alley. They'll take care of her until we get back. They left her unconscious in an alley.
My name is...
Alfie?
Alfie goes to see the doctor.
Do you ever sweat at night?
Do you think doctors are pretty? Black Christmas, a Tyler Perry production. The phone rings. It's another obscene phone call.
Lick it. Lick it. Lick it.
This is back before the Jerky Boys were funny. What was your favorite movie that we watched this year?
I'm really, really happy we watched it here because I never would have watched it on my own. Was The Holy Mountain. I would not subject that movie on my worst enemy or my best friend, but I'm happy you subjected it on me. You can't avoid that movie if you want a full and rounded film education.
Well, we've watched some really good movies this year. It would be so easy to pick something like The Tale of Zatoichi or Catch-22, but my favorite movie was a little movie called The Phantom of the Paradise.
Really?
The tone of it and the uniqueness of it was something I'd never experienced before, and so it gave me a completely new film viewing experience. As I was reflecting back on this movie, I thought to myself, Swan is the dumbest villain in movie history. He could easily have exploited Winslow Leach and not ruined his life, and you'd have gotten just as much out of him, if not more.
Yeah.
But if you look at the movie as more of an allegory, as a satire of the music industry and the stagnation of the music industry and how they push aside real talent and elevate mediocre talent such as Beef or the Juicy Fruits or whoever, then it makes total sense. Also, if you look at Swan as the personification of evil, and the fruits of evil are chaos and misery, which is exactly what he causes. And during that episode, I remember saying that I wasn't crazy about the music. I've since changed my tune on that, especially after finding this at Mad City Music, my favorite record store, for $2.
Yeah?
I've listened to it, and the music really grows on you the more you hear it.
Even Phoenix's song? Phoenix, this song. What's your least favorite movie of the year?
The movie that took something that's near and dear to my heart and just stomped all over it. And that movie was Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, that was probably my least favorite too.
It's a movie made to please no one.
No.
It's too niche for the mainstream, and it's too mainstream for the D&D nerds. Jeremy Irons' performance...
Yes!
Yeah, exactly. Was that a premeditated act on behalf of a doomed movie? I'm going to ham it up so much that this movie might just develop a cult following as a result of that.
They say that when the Tower of Babel was destroyed, a third of it sank into the earth, a third of it shook off in an earthquake, and a third of it lit on fire. Just so that you know that God himself showed up to destroy this thing. Jeremy Irons was the god to that movie's Tower of Babel.
Yet, it's a movie that's too pathetic to hate.
Yeah?
In the words of Edmund Gwenn from The Bigamist, I despise you and I pity you. Are there any movies that we watched this year that you have some new insights on? Staircase thoughts, I believe the French call them.
L'esprit de l'escalier?
Well,
that's what they call them, but with a French accent and proper pronunciation. I realized something while watching a Hunger Games ad. There is that Mockingjay sound. Doo-doo-doo-doo.
Okay. That
is the exact same opening line of the theme to Romeo and Juliet. So, anything about kids dying, those 4 notes work for.
I want to talk about the tragic aspects of Back to the Future Part 2.
Yeah.
Marty travels back in time to 1955 in the first movie. He comes back, and everything has changed, and it's all great. His family is cool and successful. He's got this great car, and things are working out for him.
Yeah.
Yet, we fast forward to 2015, and Marty is just as much of a loser as he was before the events of the first movie, even more so.
Yeah, he's more of a loser than his dad was a loser in the first movie.
So despite whatever advantages that time travel is given him, Marty is inevitably doomed. Well, I think it's high time that you and I go over to the old leather couch and watch something.
When we were kids, Matt, we watched short films all the time. All Saturday morning long, there they were. Short films, of course, we didn't think of them that way because they were cartoons, and we watched some by the masters. But before them all was Winsor McCay. McCay was a vaudeville performer working around 100 years ago who thought it might be fun to incorporate some cartoons into his act. He made a movie about something that didn't exist at all. Gertie the Dinosaur.
Hey, Gertie.
Released in 1914. Originally, it was done as a stage show where he would be talking to Gertie the Dinosaur, but his boss, William Randolph Hearst, didn't like him taking up all this time on the road when he should have been back illustrating things for him, and so he made this movie that he could just show at vaudeville houses across America.
I think I'd like to meet Gertie the Dinosaur.
Let's slide down that big Bronto's tail Fred Flintstone style all the way over to the big leather couch to watch Gertie the Dinosaur.
Gertie, a Jurassic Park that's a little closer to the actual Jurassic period.
Yes. Winsor McCay and George McManus are taking a joy drive through New York City with a bunch of friends. Look at that joy.
Can you sense the joy? Gentlemen, isn't it good to be white? They get a flat tire, and so they decide to kill some time in the Museum of Natural History while the driver fixes the flat. The remains of Gertie.
Gertie was a full working dinosaur until the panic of 1893, and then in desperation we ate her. And Winsor McCay proposes a wager. Can McCay use his fanciful little drawings to demonstrate what it would be like for a dinosaur to walk amongst the earth? If I pull it off, you owe all of us a dinner.
He toils for 6 months on making this cartoon. That's a long time to go without dinner.
He's got some assistants and everything. One of them has to bring in as much as he can from one room to another in as dangerous of a fashion as possible.
That's the last time I let an Irishman be my assistant. Later on at dinner, Winsor McCay unveils his cartoon creation.
Now, I didn't bring my checkbook because I knew McCay's gonna lose.
Gentlemen, I hope you're enjoying your passenger pigeon.
What the hell's a Dinosaurus?
I used to date a girl named Dinosaurus.
Yeah? No follow-up joke to that? Just a setup, no punchline?
Come on, what do you want from me? Real comedy? At first, it just looks like he's drawing a dinosaur, and Mr. McManus is like, that wasn't the bet.
Make it move, McCay!
So help me God, I will throw this dinner in the toilet. But soon, the dinosaur comes to life.
Voila! There she is, poking her head out of a rock. It's Gertie, and she's adorable. She eats a rock. She eats a tree.
Winsor McCay gives her commands, and then the cartoon carries them out as if the dinosaur is actually listening to him. Raise the right foot.
Which she eventually does. Oh, but check it out, she knows her left foot too. Or does she?
Gertie appears to have some serious restless leg syndrome.
Yeah.
She can't stand still when she's not, Gertie is easily distracted.
Don't look at that sea serpent, Gertie. Just raise your damn foot.
Now, Gertie, eat all of the members of this dinner party who doubted me. Then I will set you loose on New York City. Next stop, Grand Central Terminal.
No, Gertie, no! Who's this but an anachronistic mammoth named Jumbo?
Gertie, don't hurt Jumbo. That's Thomas Edison's job. Gertie and Jumbo don't get along very well. Tosses Jumbo out into the lake.
See you around, sucker. Enjoy drowning. Oh, yeah.
Gertie is turning down for what?
Jumbo's plotting in the water.
But Jumbo has his revenge. Oh! For the grand finale, Winsor McCay himself enters the cartoon,
and he rides off on Gertie's back.
Gertie only responds to stern whippings.
And he's earned food.
You've done it, Windsor. I'll pick up the check. $1.95? Gertie the Dinosaur. She put on a little show for us.
Yeah, she did. Raised both her legs and got all wet.
Think about what you just said about Gertie. Shame on you. Someone needs to tell Winsor McCay the proper way to wager. Either he works for 6 months for a dinner, or he works for 6 months, he fails, he doesn't even get a dinner. And the other guy, he doesn't have to do anything.
No, it's like I just have to sit here and hope that McCay doesn't beat me in this because I'll have to buy a dinner for all my friends. Wasn't as interesting as it probably was back in 1914.
Few things are.
No.
The Salk vaccine is still interesting.
Well, it didn't even exist yet. Salk was just a little boy.
I don't know history.
Maybe I'll make a vaccine for tuberculosis. Oh, someone figure that one out. I'll have to work on something else. Shake your left hand, Matt. Shake your left hand. Don't be distracted by that cat over there. Matt, thank you. He has a treat. Make him stop!
Let's go back to the old leather couch and watch something else.
Last year, we did some Charlie Chaplin when we watched The Immigrant. It seems only fair to balance that off with Chaplin's chief rival, Mr. Buster Keaton. So let's see what the House of the Future looks like with the Electric House.
Bzzzt. The electrical house begins at a college graduation.
Young Buster Keaton is graduating with a degree of botany, and he's flirting with the beautician who just got her beautician degree.
And somehow all the degrees get mixed up. A rich man comes by the college and says that he needs a promising young engineer to electrify his house while he's on vacation.
Ah, I'm an electrician, says the newly graduated old man.
That man is nearly 70.
Yep. But he doesn't realize that there's been a little switcheroo and that he now has
the degree in hairdressing and manicuring and girly stuff.
But it's discovered that young Buster, he has accidentally picked up the degree in electrical engineering.
The rich man whisks him off to his house.
He killed 3, including 1 police officer.
The house must be punished by state law. Do the work while I'm gone, and I'll marvel at it when I get back.
Weeks go by, and the rich man and his family return to the house.
All the electrical conveniences have been installed by this botanist. He takes them up the automatic staircase to the library, where we see that he has made the bookshelf a lot more convenient.
Yes.
There's an automatic bed.
Murphy bed. The funniest item of furniture ever. It's a right. Murphy bed.
There's a bathtub that rides around the room.
I'd want the toilet to come to the bed myself.
Well, not if you have a companion that you're sleeping with. You take a dump right next to him.
Well, I'm not talking,
dozing.
No, I just like to get on it and then be whisked away.
Apparently that automatic staircase still has a few bugs, and so Mr. Moneybags gets an unexpected trip to the pool. Oh, damn it, my phone was in my pocket.
You know what is a daily problem with people who own pools? Having to drain them and to fill them back up again. Well, not any longer. He's made the pool table more convenient too, which racks it up for you and collects all the balls for you as well, all with electricity.
Do you remember a few minutes ago when you almost died? Let's have some dinner. Well, you'll get a lot of surprises when we eat. This electrified dinner table will make dinner time a living nightmare.
Because there's a train that goes around and feeds you. You thought a lazy Susan was lazy? Check out, this is Lazy Thomas the Tank Engine.
But as expertly as these things have been installed, Buster Keaton's natural clumsiness makes them malfunction. Uh-oh, here comes dinner!
And here comes a derailment. Who wants chicken? I hope you do, lady.
The next day, the rich man has some of his friends over to show off his new electrical house. But that engineer...
He isn't happy about all this, because evidently this is the only job in town.
He finds the wire room for the house, and he starts fiddling around with the wires and the switches.
Buster, he decides it's time for him to go because his job is done.
But what he doesn't know is that the cook is frightened by the engineer sneaking into the house, and she hides in the trunk.
This is how I got to America. Trunk is a lot heavier than it normally is. So he has to take it upstairs because it's funnier that way.
But those stairs...
Meanwhile, Sisyphus is still at work.
You can bet that a certain trunk is going to end up in a certain backyard body of water.
Buster sees a hand. If only there was some way that he could instantly drain the pool.
The woman manages to extricate herself from the sinking trunk. She wraps herself in a white sheet and goes back into the house. Back to the kitchen with you, Typhoid Mary. And he thinks it's a ghost. Things are going wrong all over the house.
Yeah, Buster is freaking out because he's being chased by a ghost. He goes to find the lady of the house. She's in the bedroom. What should come out at him but that bathtub? See, he wouldn't have fallen so far if he had a toilet that did that.
Why are all these things happening, Buster asks himself. He goes to the wire room and he sees that old man college graduate is in there messing with stuff.
But Buster knows enough about electricity to know that metal conducts electricity.
This was back in the days before insulated wires.
Yeah, so he tosses all of the metal things he can find into the room.
And electrocutes the man, presumably killing him. The man of the house is so upset by all these malfunctions that he tells Buster to get out.
So he decides to kill himself in the pool.
He takes his work very seriously.
Yes.
The boss's daughter tries to save him. She drains the pool. Oh, Buster's safe now. But the man of the house says no.
No.
Let him drown.
This is what he deserves for doing his job and having it sabotaged by somebody else because I didn't look into resumes.
She doesn't want any part of that. She drains the pool again. But where's Buster? Ooh. He's been flushed out into the river.
And I never saw Andy Dufresne again.
That house was full of electrical marvels. Just for what he accomplished, they should give him an honorary degree in electrical engineering. Give him that old guy's degree. He's only going to live for a few more years.
Or a few more minutes if he keeps being electrified.
In this film, he seems to be co-starring with the house.
Yes.
And so they're kind of sharing the spotlight. You don't see the best of his acrobatic abilities.
But still, it's very fun. It's just kind of junior varsity Buster Keaton.
Well, it's time for this year's crop of new inductees to enter the hallowed halls of the Welcome to the Basement Hall of Fame.
Let us remember a couple of Hall of Famers that we have lost this year. Christopher Lee and Robert Loggia. Thanks, guys.
Let's see who is getting in this year.
Squeezing into the Hall of Fame, just under the wire, we have Olivia Hussey.
She was the star of Romeo and Juliet and Black Christmas, and now she is a star a third time in our Hall of Fame.
But wherever she goes, death follows.
Our next inductee, he's made 3 appearances in movies on our show, so it's about time he's in our Hall of Fame, and that is legendary comedian and actor Richard Pryor.
That's right. He first appeared in The Mac, which was what, episode 3?
Yep.
Followed by
Lost Highway and Car Wash. Hey, speaking of Car Wash, another actor from there is getting into our Hall of Fame. And that is a man very close to my heart, character actor Bill Duke.
That's right. Matt shoehorned another one of his favorites in this year. Ha! A non-actor being inducted this year is William Cameron Menzies, director of Things to Come and Invaders from Mars. One of the most visually intriguing directors, and that springs, of course, from the fact that he was one of the greatest set designers and art directors in film history. Congratulations, Mr. Menzies. It's your time of the year.
Lastly, we have an unassuming gentleman who has made a couple appearances in our show. He was in Altered States and Catch-22, Bob Balaban.
He's sneaky, he's subtle, he stands around in the background, but then he comes out and he turns out he's a pretty awesome actor.
Congratulations to this year's Hall of Famers, but there is another category of our Hall of Fame, the non-human category.
I don't know what it's going to be.
Here's a little montage to introduce our new inductee.
Call that a scream? How did you get cast in this movie?
It was all about the screaming. And in the Hall of Fame this year, it's all about the screaming. I want to thank viewer Alex De Silva for giving me the idea for that Hall of Fame inductee.
What's your favorite scream of the year, Matt?
This one. I have another surprise for you.
Ooh.
This year we are inducting a second member into the non-human category of the Hall of Fame.
Oh, they're taking over, those non-humans.
This one's been a long time coming, and for the first time, it is a sentient being. It's Ernesto!
What?
The scrappy mascot of this show is finally going to be honored in the way that he deserves by being a Hall of Fame member. Let's go to Ernesto and see what he thinks. Anything? No? Cecil, comment? Okay, well, I guess that should have been expected.
Yes, cats can't talk.
Well, I need a promising young engineer or dinosaur to do some work on my website. Welcome to thebasementshow.com. That's where you can go to watch all of our episodes. There's all kinds of other surprises on there, and there's a PayPal donation button. You can donate a few dollars to support our show.
Recent donors include
James, who says, best show on the internet. Emily, Peter, Kyle, Steve, Ralph, Jack, who says, would you be able to wish a very happy birthday and a thumb kiss for my girlfriend of almost 7 years, Carly? We are just about to move into our very own place together, and it's her birthday on the 18th. Happy birthday, Carly! Mwah.
Happy birthday, Carly.
Christine, Cleopatra, Natalie, Dan, Patricia, Christer, who says, greetings from a Norwegian in Seoul. Bet, Michael, Marina, Ann, Luke, Harrison. My girlfriend Natalia turned me on to all the Blank Society content. If you could shout her out, it would mean the world to her. Natalia, sweetie, thanks a lot.
We're shouting you out.
Maura, Brian, Nicole, Alex, Shane, Herman, who says, you guys have the most underrated show on YouTube. More people should watch it.
Tell your friends.
Jacqueline, Tristan, and Peter, who says, best wishes for the festive season and New Year. Right back at all of you.
What's that big pile of stuff next to you, Matt?
Why, that's the contents of our mailbag.
Really?
Postcard here from Misty in the Cayman Islands.
Oh, nice.
Our buddy T.A. Epley from Catalina.
Playground of the Stars.
Trisha. Samuel from Oklahoma State University. Our buddy Sean Henry in British Columbia. And another one from Andrew.
And quack to you, too.
Right quack at you.
He's the smart one. With the duck puns.
We got a very nice card and letter here from Alfred and Kelly. Check that out.
Oh, paper cut right in the face.
A couple Christmas cards here. One from Shannon and Czar, and one from Graham.
Very nice.
Deck the halls. Nate from New Jersey has sent us some DVDs. These are some titles you might be familiar with. Pet Sematary 2, The Descent 2, and Starship Troopers 2.
For some reason, I think that all of these will be, in a way, a descent.
Speaking of T.A. Epley, he sent you another gift.
Ooh. Oh. Alexander Nevsky. Thank you, T.A. I've just recently watched Ivan the Terrible, and I've been meaning to get around to this one.
And lastly, Shanti from Austin has sent us some gifts. We got one for you and one here for me. This is a record. Radio Ready, Wisconsin. I'm looking forward to checking that out.
A whole stack of postcards.
Look at all those postcards. Shanti was even sweet enough to send Tona a gift. This lovely handmade scarf. There she is.
Thank you, Shanti. It's beautiful.
I will add all of these postcards to the stack.
You mean all the postcards we've received this year?
Yes.
Holy cow.
There we go. Keeping the U.S. Postal Service alive.
Not to mention all the cards and letters and packages we've received from you fine people, and it's so Great to check that P.O. box and see the surprises that are in there.
We appreciate all of it.
In the past on this show, we've made New Year's resolutions. This show is the result of a New Year's resolution, and I'm going to make another one. Just a few months ago, we watched The Tale of Zatoichi, a film that spawned 25 sequels.
Yeah?
In 2016, I'm watching them all.
Holy...
All 25 movies in 1 year.
I'm going to watch 1 or maybe 2 Zatoichi movies in the course of the next year. That is my resolution. Who will do theirs first? Also, the red shoes. Finally getting around to the red shoes.
You ever seen the red shoes?
I know.
Now is the time of the show usually where we have our gift exchange.
That's right.
Sorry to say I didn't get you anything this year.
I didn't get you anything this year.
So I guess we can just skip the gift exchange unless we have a gift for someone else.
We do.
Otona.
What?
Come on over here and have a seat. We got something for you. We got you something to show our appreciation for all the hard work that you do. Let's go ahead and open that up. Look at the pretty flowers.
Oh, guys. Oh, it's so beautiful. Thank you.
I hope these flowers last as long as the show. Well, welcome. Or thank you.
And now it's time for the electrical marvels of Scene It. Well, now, Gertie, stop misbehaving. How appropriate for this episode where we're looking back on the year. Our theme for Scene It is Scene It Revisited. These are movies that we've discussed in past Scene It's, but they never really got their due. And so we're going to give it a second shot.
TJDGI writes, what about Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead? Scene It.
We talked about this movie in our very first Scene It, episode 4.
We didn't talk about this movie. We basically just talked about our relationship to the play.
But we didn't discuss the movie, which is quite good.
Yeah.
Probably because Tom Stoppard wrote the screenplay. If you're going to adapt a play to the screen, have the playwright write the screenplay.
Also, the cast is perfect in the movie. You have Gary Oldman and Tim Roth as the title characters, and Richard Dreyfuss kind of at the height of his powers as the player king.
Poo Poo McP writes, have you guys seen Dark City? It's kind of like The Matrix, only it actually delivers on its philosophical ideas. Seen it?
Seen it.
We discussed this in episode 9, and at that point you had not seen it. Soon after that, we watched it together.
Yes, he sat me down and forced me to watch it, like the show, but in real life. And Mr. McP, you are absolutely right with the comparisons to The Matrix. This movie came out less than a year before The Matrix. It's almost the same plot, but just told in a very realistic and also very handmade way. Plus, I just like watching Rufus Sewell walk around and do stuff. He's a very intriguing actor. You have William Hurt, who's, figuring things out as well.
Wow, that was really good.
Thanks, that's my first try to William Hurt. Mike Cronus, who I believe is the god of time, writes, have you seen It's a Mad, 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 Mad World?
We talked about this also on episode 9, and you also had not seen it at that point. But you just watched it recently.
Yes. Luckily, I was sick earlier this week, so I could sit down and watch a 3-hour and 20-minute long wackadoodle comedy.
Well, what'd you think?
I was not impressed.
Oh, come on.
I think my problem is that I didn't watch the shorter one. If I would have watched the 240-minute one, it wouldn't have been quite as daunting. It's a whole lot of people screaming for a really, really long time.
It's not that much screaming.
It's all screaming.
Oh, come on.
It was too much.
You know who I don't like?
No.
Milton Berle.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's one of the most overrated comedians in history. I didn't like the way he treated Elvis. I didn't like the way he treated the cast of SNL, and he was unfunny, and he was racist.
And he was called by Bob Hope the thief of bad gag, which is one of the best put-downs ever, Mr. Hope.
Milton Berle in this movie is hilarious.
He is.
This is the performance of his career. The acting, him and Sid Caesar, this is the best acting they've ever done.
Yes.
And Jonathan Winters destroying a gas station is the funniest thing you'll ever see.
That is a relentless onslaught of destruction. It is the closest thing you'll see to someone actually hulking out.
Our final Scene It of the year. It's become a tradition for the show to discuss a legendary movie, but not talk about the good parts, only talk about the bad parts. Since this is Scene It Revisited, we're going to talk about a movie that we discussed earlier this year, Pulp Fiction.
There is one moment in it that I do not like. At the diner at the end of the movie, they have a cutaway from the conversation between the two thugs over to the table with Pumpkin and Honey Bunny. As he says, Garçon. The movie up until that point treats the audience with an unheard of amount of intellectual respect. Someone thought that there would be confusion when we get back to the diner at the end, that this wasn't the second restaurant job. That we aren't going back to the beginning of the movie, so they had to show us that moment.
Sometimes moments like that aren't necessarily patronizing the audience. It's just like, we don't want the audience to have to think too much about this. We're just going to toss this thing in so they can just instantly get it and still focus on what we're doing here. And it's something that's so fast-paced as Pulp Fiction is, I wouldn't want the audience's attention to lap for any reason. I didn't like Mia Wallace as a character. She's supposed to be this badass, strong female character. I find her to be just this shallow dummy. And I don't find the character to be really compelling. And at the end of the ordeal, we're supposed to believe that, Vincent Vega has kind of fallen in love with her, and I don't buy it. Because I don't like her.
You don't like Mia, or you don't like Uma?
It's not Uma's fault. I think it's the writing's fault.
What I like about her is that she starts out as this cold, distant figure, and then the last shots of her after the ordeal, you realize she's just a little girl who's been acting cool this entire time.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I just think that moment when he kind of blows her a kiss or whatever, it just seems really phony. Because if I was him at that point, I'd be like, get out of my car. I never want to see you again.
That's seen it.
And that's our show. We watched 2 short films from the days of yore, courtesy of Craig Johnson. Gertie the Dinosaur made us laugh. The Electric House made us think about engineering.
And how easy it must be.
This is our final show of the year. We will be going on hiatus, taking a little break. The show will return February 5th.
You may think that's a long time, but you have plenty of stuff to do in the interim.
That's because we will be posting daily on Facebook Monday through Friday until the February 5th release.
That's a lot of Facebook posts. If you're feeling withdrawal, there's probably some episode you haven't seen yet.
The 3 Cases of Murder episode from this season was a little underviewed, and it's one of our best, so you should definitely check that out. It's been quite a year. We feel like we've gotten to know so many of you in the audience, and it's just great that you keep coming on back. It's difficult for me to express my gratitude in ways that don't seem pandering or phony, but I feel it, and I hope that you can get a sense of that from the sincere expression on my face right now.
Matt means it, and I do too, whatever he just said.
Have a great January. We'll see you soon. Good night. You having a little problem there?
I forgot how to do it. I kissed my nail.
A little thumb malfunction?
Yeah.
Huh. Cat's in the kitchen.
And a silver spoon.
When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but the house has been electrified.
Shoot you out your window, died.